Hey everybody, it's Sam from Wrestling Overtime with your news and updates in the wrestling world for May 26, 2020. Now, AEW has confirmed a number one contenders battle royal will take place on Dynamite this week, and they will take on Cody for the TNT Championship. Then, Fluff Gordon has signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor and will stay with Villain Enterprises. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not think this would happen. I made the assumption that Fluff Gordon would wait until his contract ran out and then he would join AEW with his friends. But I guess he really truly believes in Marty Scurll, and he wants to stay there and make Ring of Honor his home. And I hope that the both of them turn it into a powerhouse, but I just don't know. Chris Jericho has revealed that the Inner Circle will be hosting a pep rally with lots of surprises this Wednesday night, May 27th. And then Miro, formerly Rusev, in the WWE, has launched his own YouTube channel. Now, for those of you who don't know, he has his own gaming channel, but this YouTube channel appears to be more of him talking about going to Wendy's and doing things like that. I suggest that you all check out the new Being the Lead episode to see Vanguard 1's funeral. Let me tell you, Frankie Kazarian and Cody are hilarious. Frankie Kazarian throwing a fit about having a funeral for a drone. He had me rolling. It is funny as funny can be. In an interview with Slam Sports, The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, says, "I'll never ever retire completely. I may not get into the ring and wrestle anymore, but I'll always somehow be involved, I'm sure, within the industry." And I'm sure he will too. He has too many good ideas. He has too much experience in the business. They definitely need him possibly consulting or doing something with creative. I'm sure that he can come up with better storylines than what WWE is getting right now. Now, according to the PWInsider.com, Matt Riddle is joining the SmackDown roster. Earlier in the week, we heard rumors that someone was going to be called up. It looks like it is going to be Matt Riddle. Seth Rollins spoke to Sports Illustrated about using Edge's neck injury to force John Cena to reinstate the Authority in 2014. He said if he was in Edge's shoes that he would have some unfinished business because of that with Seth Rollins. And he fully expects Edge to get around to him sooner or later. WWE taped next week's episode of Raw, which would be June 1st. And Kairi Sane ended up suffering a cut on her head while she was outside the ring in a match with Nia Jax. The match was said by Fightful to be temporarily stopped so that she could actually receive medical attention and be checked on. After getting aid, the match resumed, and then they quickly wrapped it up. So look for that. I am sure that there will be a cut. Whether it'll be noticeable or not during the wrestling match, I'm sure we'll see her fall and there will be somehow a cut and then it will continue. I just wonder how obvious it will be that they stopped it. Kenny Omega was tagged by a fan in a tweet knocking AEW's women's division. Well, Kenny Omega didn't let that one slide. Omega said that he was happy for Deonna Purrazzo signing with Impact Wrestling, but then he told that fan to try watching AEW matches starting with the Double or Nothing match and then tell him, we need help. Well, the fan actually responded and said that he had been watching every one of AEW's matches since they'd been on TV, including the pay-per-views, and he stood by what he said. Kenny Omega did not respond by it. So, be watching the different Twitter accounts here, because you never know what's going to go down. I watched Impact's, what they're calling Aftershock, on their YouTube channel. It was pretty interesting. It was about a half an hour long. I think it was 26 minutes if you want to get technical, but about a half an hour long. They had Jimmy Jacobs and Don Callis on there, and they talked a little bit, and then Sami Callihan kind of hocked in. And Sami Callihan actually got into it with Don Callis about how things were being run and that he wasn't allowing Sami to be Sami. And Don Callis made fun of all the different nicknames that Sami calls himself and everything. Then we got a view of the Real Housewives of Slamtown. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be a reoccurring piece. I'm sure it is. But this episode kind of focused on Valkyrie and how she was handling the quarantine not very well. And how people would try to get a hold of her and she would ignore them and just different things like that. It was pretty funny. Aftershock will be something that I will watch again. I'll give it another chance and see if it's still funny, and we'll kind of take it as it goes. I know that a lot of you are out there hollering, oh, they're following after AEW. Oh, WWE's doing this. Well, you know, if something is working for somebody, why not try it yourself? And like I said, it was funny. It was interesting. I will watch it. So, you know, Impact got another Aftershock fan. So why not? Why not try it? And then the results for tonight, May 26th, Tuesday night, AEW Dark, because I know some of you don't watch it but are wanting to keep up with it. The Natural Nightmares, which are Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall with Brandy Rhodes as their manager, beat two members of the Dark Order. Michael Nakazawa beat Brandon Cutler by countout. Now that one shocked me. I'm just going to be real honest with you. I thought that these two would end up being friends. You know, Nakazawa is a friend of Kenny Omega's, and of course Brandon Cutler is a friend of the Young Bucks. And so for them to take each other on and it to be as action-packed and hard-hitting as it was a little bit of a shock to me. So, it was a good match though. Jungle Boy actually submitted Peter Avalon. Now, I know some of you are going to say, submits? Okay, number one, I think I could submit Peter Avalon. But Jungle Boy does have submissions in his arsenal. He just hasn't showed them a lot. And I'm glad that he is working on them on AEW Dark, and hopefully we'll see him on Dynamite soon. Christopher Daniels beat Certifico, and Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela went up against and beat John Skyer and Brady Pierce. Now, John Skyer and Brady Pierce were making their debuts in AEW. What got me was Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela being a tag team. I want to see a little bit more of that tag team. Both of them are wild and crazy, and I think that would be interesting. Also, Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc beat Tony Donati and Fabu Andre. The shock of the night. Wardlow came out with MJF and knocked out Grimm. Now, Grimm was making his AEW debut. But yes, you heard me right. Wardlow knocked him out with his knee. And he looked pretty awesome. I'm trying to think of a word to use for how good Wardlow looked and how destructive he looked. But he was very impressive tonight. Colt Cabana submitted Lee Johnson. Penelope Ford beat Killian King. And then in the main event tonight, Best Friends beat Alan Angles and Shawn Dean. Now, the interesting part, or the part that I thought was interesting on AEW Dark, was that Tazz was the commentator with Excalibur. He came out at the beginning of the show and immediately, and I do mean immediately, told Excalibur that he was not talking about Brian Cage, that he was there to commentate on the matches and offer his opinions, that he was not going to talk about his role with Brian Cage. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I love Tazz on commentary. I wish that he could do it more often, but I will take him on AEW Dark if that's the only way I can get him. So, you guys got any questions, comments, problems, or protests? Make sure you hit us up on our Twitter page at Wrestling Overtime, or our Facebook page, or write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com, and I will definitely get back to you guys, because as always, I've been working overtime to give you what you want, and I will be talking to you guys soon.